Welcome to this video on the Researchmaster Education and Child Studies. My name is Marielle Linting and I am the Director of Studies for this program, and I will try to guide you through the most important aspects of the program so you will be able to make your decision. Well, maybe you're already wondering, should I spend 15 minutes of my life watching through this entire video? Well, I actually made two questions that might help you make that decision. The first one is, do you want to develop a deep understanding of how children and youth develop and learn? And do you want to contribute to resolving pedagogical challenges by connecting research and practice? If the answer to one of these questions, or maybe both, is yes, then I suggest you bear with me. You will learn a lot of different things during this program, but the main focus will be on designing, conducting, and evaluating real empirical research. So that should be something that you actually want to do. Doing that, you will bridge the gap between science and society from two different perspectives. You will look at practice and policy and then derive research questions from those, and also the other way around, you will translate scientific knowledge to practice and policy. You will develop a critical attitude toward your own work, which is very important, of course, but also toward the work of others. So you will also look critically at the literature. And then you will gain a lot of skills that you might be able to use in many different contexts. You will learn about research ethics, about how to present your data and your findings and your ideas to a broad public, how to publish your papers in good journals, how to join the scientific debate, how to apply for grants, but also very important, you will try to learn how to be part of a good functioning team, how to take ownership of your role in that team, and maybe even be a leader. After the program, you will become, at first, an academic researcher who thoroughly understands the world of professionals in the field of education and child studies. And that is what you will be at the very core. In addition, you will be a critical and analytical thinker, so you will be able to look at practice from a bit of a distance and analyze. We also find it very important that you will become a team player, because we think that that is the future of good scientific research. You will be qualified for many different positions, for instance, PhD positions, but also you can work as a researcher in the public sector, you can advise policymakers, or you can be a practitioner in the field and do research within that field as well. Well, maybe you think I have to be the most excellent student ever to join this program. Well, that's not true. You do have to be motivated and hardworking. But for the rest of it, it's just about what you are interested in. Are you interested in doing research? That's the first very important question. Do you want to connect theory and practice? Do you like to bridge that gap? Are you always curious about mechanisms that lie beneath particular phenomena? Are you good at taking a bit of a distance from what you're looking at? Are you good at analytic thinking? And also, very importantly, do you like a good challenge? Because the program is, in some ways, quite challenging. Think of the workload and maybe also the level of the courses and the things that you need to do. If you still think, well, this might be the program for me, then you can apply. And then you need to meet a couple of entry requirements. The first one is that you need to have a research bachelor's degree in the field of education and child studies or any other relevant field, like developmental psychology, for instance. This needs to be a research degree and not a professional degree. There's a difference between those two. You need at least 20 credits in research methods and statistics, and think of quantitative methods for your main focus. You also need at least 30 credits in subjects relevant to education and child studies. Then you need to demonstrate to us that you have affinity with the area of research that we work in. For instance, you can show us a bachelor's thesis that is in that area. That bachelor's thesis should also be graded with at least a 7.5 on a 10-point scale. And your English should be at a proper level. We need at least a 6.5 on the IELTS test, which is equal to the Dutch VWO level. And if you want to apply, always make sure you check the website for the most current requirements, because sometimes the details might change a bit. You can apply through studielink.nl, and there are two different possible deadlines. The first one is the 1st of April, which applies if you need a visa or a residence permit. And the other one is the 15th of June, if you do not need such things. If you apply, you need to send along your bachelor's thesis, curriculum vitae, and also a motivation letter, which is no longer than 600 words. Also standard in the procedure is that you get an interview with the admissions board. And this is not something that you should be very nervous about. It's just to check whether you and the program are a good match. We will ask you to explain a little bit about your primary motivation for doing research. We will also ask you to discuss your experience in quantitative research in the field of education and child studies. We will assess your level of intellectual curiosity, which you can also show by asking us some questions. We will ask you to reflect a bit on your personal skills, especially with regard to the challenging nature of the program. And we will look at how clear you are when you express yourself, which is important because you need to enter a lot of scientific discussions during the program. Well, this is what the program looks like. It's spread across 2 years, and the green part on this slide indicates the obligatory part of the curriculum. It's all about doing research, doing good research, and all of these courses have a main research focus, always connected to practice, but the main focus is on research. Then the yellow part is a part that has a main focus on the practice of education and child studies. It contains the internship and also the profiles. Those are substantive courses, and this yellow part seems to be a bit small maybe, but it consists of at least 5 profile courses plus the internship. Then the Researchmaster's program is the part where it all comes together. So you bring your research focus and your practical focus together with you in this master's project. Well, this obligatory part consists of many different perspectives on doing research. The first course that you will follow, for instance, is conducting and evaluating empirical research, and it shows you how to do the most commonly used data analyses and also to write a good paper about that. Applied multivariate data analysis is a mini course on more advanced research methods, so it introduces you to the more complex problems in our type of research. And then in designing research for science and society, you will design your own research and get to know what ethical pitfalls you might fall into. You can learn about how to apply grants and how to present your ideas to others. The profiles consist of 5 substantive courses, of which 3 are already set by us, and 2 you can choose from a list of courses that you are actually interested in. All of these courses relate to the theory and to the practice of education and child studies. There are 6 different profiles. The first 3 you can only follow when you are able to speak Dutch. And the reason for that is that you have to interact with many children and also parents maybe that only speak Dutch. So that is why these 3 clinical courses are only available to people speaking Dutch themselves. Then there are also 3 non-clinical profiles that you can follow entirely in English. And those are on 3 very different aspects of our field: education, the more normative development, and also the more problematic development. The internship is a practical internship that you need to do outside of university because we want you to get to know the practice from the inside out. So you really get to experience what it's like to be out there in the field and to also learn about the things that professionals run into and the things that you might want to take account of when you do research in that field. There is supervision for the internship within the organization where you do the internship, as well as within our institute in the university. There's individual supervision as well as supervision in groups. And at the end of the internship, you deliver 2 products. One is the internship report on everything that you did in the institution, and the other one is a research proposal that you design within the context of your internship or a similar context. Well, finally, there's the Researchmaster's project where you bring it all together. This project is within the university. You get to work together with more experienced researchers in the master-apprentice model, so you will learn from the experience of others, and you will write your thesis within the context of a bigger project, so that you learn what a big research project is, how it works, and all the things that come with that. You formulate your own research question, and in the end, you will do your project quite independently. Throughout the program, there's a lot of supervision. The most important supervisor might be your mentor, who is a professor or an assistant professor, an associate professor in the field of education and child studies. They will guide you through the entire program and help you make decisions about your program, and you can also talk to them about how it is to be a researcher and to have a career as a researcher. During your master's project, you will have 2 supervisors in many cases. One that guides you through the practical part, the research tutor, and the other one who helps you write the thesis. And sometimes these 2 roles are performed by one person. Then there's the internship tutor, and if you have personal issues or problems with organization of your program, you can always go to the study advisor, who is very happy to help you with that. Well, some students want to know whether they can also get a professional registration as a basis orthopedagoog or a basis pedagoog. Well, you can, but again, this is only possible for Dutch-speaking students because you need to interact with Dutch-speaking children or their parents or people in institutions that only speak Dutch. If you want to get this professional registration, you need a set of courses from your bachelor's program that matches your master's courses. You need to do a clinical profile, and you also need to do an internship in clinical practice. And your study advisor can help you make the right combination of those things. So if you want this, you should talk to the study advisor at a very early stage in the program. And to remind you, professional registration is an option. It is not an obligation. If you think before starting the program, I don't want to be a professional in the field, I just want to be a researcher, then you are very welcome to do the program without this registration part. Well, there are some other specifics of the program that might be nice to know. The first thing is we have a really close-knit student community because we are a small-scale program. So all students know each other quite well and they support each other during the program. There's a lot of teamwork involved, a lot of assignments that you do together with others, and there's also a special room where you can work with your fellow students, which is called the Robert Casimir Studio. There are possibilities to go abroad during the program, and there are also possibilities to ask for a little bit of money to support you at that. And one of those possibilities is the Ina van Berkelaar Honor Stipendium that you can apply for if you have plans to go abroad. And finally, you can also join our program committee, where you can learn what happens behind the scenes of the program and where you can also affect the quality of your own program. Well, that is actually all I have to say about the program, but maybe you want to know what students think, because they are actually the best judges of this all. Well, we did some evaluations with students over the years, and we listed some things that the international students said about the Researchmaster. They said you learn academic as well as personal skills, so not only the research part, but also how to develop personally. You get a lot of research opportunities with good researchers. There's a lot of individual attention because you work in small groups. You get to engage in class and develop a critical attitude. We find that very important, that people learn how to speak up and say what they think. It's a challenging but rewarding program. And finally, someone said it's an adventure. Well, we hope that you might consider joining us for that adventure, and we would very much like to see you in Leiden.